get this done? Talk about it.
Can I just give you some attributes?
Yes.
People who are strong, people who have the will to keep asking and demanding when they keep receiving no's. We have to have persistent and determined people because we've been told no from the jump. So we need to have more people out there who are listening to those people who are putting it out in the forefront that this is our main issue. We need reparations. We're not gonna progress in society until we are compensated for what has happened to us in the past, and we got to quit letting people lead us who do not have that stance. We have to listen to people who have a strong stance and who are willing to put themselves in the forefront and demand these reparations.
Okay, important question. When you say us, you're talking about African Americans.
I'm talking
but
about,
there are some African Americans who are opposed to reparations. So would that wouldn't fit into the whole of this equation, would it? Omar, come on. Us/African Americans, those who oppose, and those who are for reparation. Break it down.
You know, when Harriet Tubman was freeing the slaves, she said she could have freed more slaves, right? But some didn't even know they were slaves. There's some African Americans that don't know they even deserve reparations.
Come on now.
They think the crumbs that fell off the white man's table is good enough.
It's sufficient. Come on.
So they feel like, I don't need to get any more than what I already got. Even though he can live in heaven while he on earth, we got to die and go to heaven. And we don't know what we're going to get when we get there because ain't nobody ever come back and explained it to us.
Right.
We got to understand that heaven is what you make here.
That's right.
He got it and he took it from us.
Because you're talking about the unknown.
Yes.
It absolutely makes no sense at all,
No.
as they say. So, what about skills that are needed to bring this to court? Should we have particularly Jeffrey, Lonnie, and you come back to you, Omar, skillful young men and women who are majoring in law, know law, and study law, and we have strategies and skills to buttress what African Americans are doing to get paid for years and years of unpaid labor and suffering. Let me stop right there. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
I'm just going to be try to be concise with that. Absolutely. Everything that they try to steer us away from understanding are the things that we need to be trying to understand. In this society, we have K through 12, where we study different subjects, math, history, social studies, all these other things, but we live in a society with a lot of laws, but they don't teach us about the laws. So we do need to try to find people out there who have understanding of the law, because they're the ones who we can work with to try to help that economic justice trickle down to us, because we do stand in
We're in opposing modes, war mode, opposition, up against opposition, up against obstacles.
Well, yeah, there's definitely.
I'm talking about those who agree with the whole reparations issue. This is what we're talking about.
Okay. I guess I need a little bit more clarification.
Well, clarification as in, back to what we said, there are some who, like, did you say, Lonnie said you looked up some opposing forces? Okay, so we're talking about the ones who are for reparations. What is required for that particular group? Well, you answered.
Oh,
you answered.
Also organization. We have to link up with other people who have like minds, but then also we have to look at this reparation subject as something that I said something about getting behind people who will ask, no matter if they're told no, but then we have to have it in our mind that, I mean, if it's something that is truly ours, we don't really have to or need to ask for it. It's ours.
I'm glad you said that, because a little while ago you said ask or demand. I want to say something about that, asking to, but you came around, not ask, demand.
Right.
Okay, so we're talking about strategies and tactics and approaches. Is that right?
That's correct.
That's what we're talking about. So, Omar, I like what he said, because he brought up something about allies, building allies. And that's something that African Americans are not accustomed to. When we look at the broad spectrum across the globe, we see allies as well as we see opposing forces.
Right.
Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. Come on. Omar,
You know,
and then you line.
it was just about a year ago that Britain, America, and other countries were brought to the world court on this reparations charge. And when they were brought to court, they refused to pay anything in terms of reparations. We demanded reparations, but there's no need to answer the demand without power. And black folk around the globe need to come together and show power so we can get reparations. Minister Farrakhan will be speaking over at the a webcast at the Dr. Martin Luther King Labor Center next Sunday.
Next Sunday, what time?
Next Sunday, 2 o'clock.
Great.
And when he speaks, he's going to be speaking about justice, the cry for justice throughout the world, not just in America, not just in Ferguson, Missouri, but the cry for justice. And part of that cry for justice is going to be a cry for reparations.
And now we're talking about a serious strategy when you say that.
Yes.
Around the world.
Around the globe.
Global movement.
Yes.
You're talking about something when you bring that up. So that's next Sunday, everybody, at 2 o'clock.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's right.
And while I'm at it, I want to announce one more time every Sunday. There's a $3,000 reward up for the killer, murderer, and bringing his ass in of Deborah Lynn Redd. Now, what about building these allies?
I agree with that, and to do that, you know, we're going to have power, and to have power, we're going to have some type of wealth economically, and in order to do that, you know, they say we, as a whole African American here, if we spend out over $1 trillion, you know, we like the 10th wealthiest nation out there. We need to combine those allies, that money to some allies that agree with us. And there's countries out there that are like, hey, these Europeans are doing them wrong, but they're not stepping up to the plate. And maybe we give them some incentive to say, hey, have our back, you know.
Okay.
That's a good idea, though.
Not cutting in on you too soon, but we're up against the clock now, Jeffrey. We're up against the clock. We have about, it's ticking on down. What about, how do you, he said, first you have to have power. What if you find yourself in a situation where you don't quite have, and power is leverage. And leverage is something that you use throughout life on a daily basis. You may not recognize or think about, but you leverage what you have working in your favor. And so, do we get power first, or do we use the power that we have to leverage against the power of opposing forces? Tongue getting twisted. Then we'll go to Omar.
It definitely starts with us, one, within ourselves and collectively. We have to have the right idea. We have to have people, a collective mind set first. And so it is always going to start with us. Once we have a collective mindset of people who have the same goal in mind, that's where we're going to harness our power. Because once we have that collective force with the same goal in mind, that's where our strategies come from. So we're definitely going to have to come, in so many ways, come together. Because once we do get the wealth, we're going to have people out there who know what to do with the wealth. We can't just
that's
say,
right.
you know.
Budgeting and accounting is what you're talking about. What do you say about leveraging the power you have, Baruti? Isaac, how much time do we have? Do we have time for Omar and then me?
Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. Omar, power, leveraging power, building allies, strategies, tactics, skill. And should I throw courage in there?
You got to have courage, because that's our biggest problem, our fear of the white man.
Okay.
We fear him every step of the way.
Hey, Brother Wallace Redd, before y'all close, go ahead and take this call real quick live on the air.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, caller.
Yes, I was listening to the reparations.
Turn your radio down.
Let's pay a price.
Around the country right now, Trump and about the civil rights lawyers to the country as we speak.
Okay.
People to come to them with the civil rights problems,
Okay.
reparations, the police brutality, you see administration squandering taxpayers' money.
Mhm.
All of these illegal tactics have to be challenged. Courts talking about them, pondering them. They use the law on us. We have to use the law on them. So if you guys want to get anything done, you know you need these lawyers. So it's harder to find a good civil rights lawyer
Absolutely.
and going on the streets of Memphis. So
Yes.
anti-Trump, this group of lawyers now, they're spearheading other these injustices. You see that they're sending poor people to jail because they can't pay traffic tickets. So all these illegal tactics are being challenged right now. So go on the spearhead and get lawyers.
Okay. Phil, thanks for your call. We're up against time. We're getting the wrap it up signal from Mr. Isaac Woodridge. Thanks for calling. Now, I want to go back to you, Omar. He said, lawyers,
That was
skillful.
some of the world's finest lawyers took this to the world court,
Okay.
and they are top drawer.
Mm-hmm.
But without, if you demand reparations, you got to have something to back your demand.
Okay.
And we don't have the power to back the demand.
Okay.
That's why the
Great.
people must come together.
That's a great point, because I think we've touched on the whole mental capacity. So before, and well, I'm not going to say before, but drawing these elements together is going to have to be what Kwame Ture said, boots on the ground. The people must be organized, and you've constantly said it is a mental issue. So the mindset has to change.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
And I think it's time for us to close, and we thank our gracious technician for allowing us to go over a couple of minutes on such a hot topic. And tune in to the Love Power Show once again on next Sunday at 12 for some more exciting hot topics and debate. Hit it, Isaac. Love power. Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't do it.
You didn't do it?
Now you satisfied with what you went over with?
Yeah, man.
Isaac, brother Isaac.
What's going on?